Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 7-game Major League Baseball slate. Before I get started, you can guys smash that like and subscribe button. Let's go ahead and get into it though. So yesterday there was a ton of home runs like we expected in the big slate, and we had 30 home runs total, and 14 of them in our top or value plays. So it's pretty good. With that said, this slate does feature a rough pitching situation. There's not a bunch of super expensive pitchers, but there's also not a bunch of pitchers that make us super happy about utilizing them. So, with that said, Zach Gallen is the top overall guy. He has the best matchup against Detroit, and he has the best strikeout potential outside of Jack Flaherty, at least. And so he does draw good metrics for this game. I think he will be the top overall pitcher on the slate, so he's my favorite pitcher as well. Then we have two GPP plays, one being Seth Lugo for Kansas City. He has a favorable match against Oakland, though I do like some Oakland bats. He has the highest ceiling of anybody, but he also has a pretty low floor. As in his couple bad games, he's been really subpar. But I do think he has a lot of upside in this matchup, so he's definitely worth a look. And his strikeout rate's pretty good. Cutter Crawford is the other GPP play for Boston. He's got a favorable match in St. Louis, who's been struggling so far this season, and he has very favorable metrics for this one. His strikeout rate is also good here, similar to his Gallen, so he has a lot of upside for his price. Then we have three extreme plays, and Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty, and Justin Verlander. Now, these all three have a lot of risk here involved in those three, but they do have some potential and decent enough strikeout rates to have some upside. But I do like Buehler a little bit, but he has not had a good start yet. And then Flaherty has been okay, but he has some inconsistencies and has one of the tougher matchups. And Verlander has one of the toughest matchups on this entire slate against Milwaukee. So I think he's probably pretty avoidable unless you just want to use him as a contrarian play. Looking at our catchers, our top overall play is Salvador Perez. Again, he was really solid looking yesterday, and he managed 17 fantasy points. I look for him to have another good day today. But Shea Langorlays for Oakland has a lot of home run potential today, so he definitely draws good metrics for this game. Even though it is risky with Lugo being about a decent starter pitcher, I do think a couple guys could hit home runs for Oakland, so he's definitely in play. You could also look at Yanir Diaz, Jonah Heim, and Logan O'Hoppe as other options in that $4,000 price range. Looking at first base, we're going to look at Ohtani first, obviously the most expensive play here. He isn't the best today, but he has good metrics here. I do like him better than Freddie Freeman, who's also available, though Freeman's over $1,000 cheaper, and so that definitely gives Freeman some potential on the slate as a contrarian option. Christian Walker also in play here. But he's hit the ball pretty well lately, but he is a little inconsistent. But some value plays here. Nolan Chanel for the Angels looks really solid. Probably my favorite value play at this position. And he's sub $3,400, which is nice. And then Pasquinto for Kansas City looks really good today. He's been inconsistent, but he has some ups and downs. He has had a hit in 3 or 4 games, but he has some potential today for a home run. So that's why we like him. Well, you got second base, Marcus Semien and Jose Altuve jump off the page as the top overall options. They are fairly expensive today, and you don't need to pay up necessarily. You can go down to Zach Gelof for Oakland, as he does draw home run metrics for this game, but he's been very inconsistent so far this season. Rengifo did manage to be a really solid play yesterday, and he's back to being another solid play today. He did have a good game yesterday, 14 fantasy points. I look for him to continue that, and he's got really good metrics here. And then Luis Arias has a good matchup here against Atlanta. He's cheap enough that he's a viable option. Again, he's been hitting the ball very well since he's been traded. Moving to third base here, Devers is the top overall play. Excuse me, for Boston. He has a good home run potential today. He's hit home runs in 3 straight games. Hopefully he can continue that. He's just looking really solid. Now, I also mentioned Rengifo already. At second base, you can also slide him at third and pay for somebody else at second. Or you can go with Miguel Garcia for Kansas City, who did hit a home run yesterday, and he's been really solid lately, so he draws really good metrics again today. I also like Alex Bregman here. He's been absolutely fantastic lately, even though he started the season really rough. He's really been hitting the ball well in the last week or two. Moving to shortstops, this position is really rough today. There's really nobody outside of Bobby Witt, Mookie Betts, and Ella De La Cruz, so if you're going to pay up at any position, this would definitely be the one. I think Ella De La Cruz and Mookie Betts both have a lot of potential, but they have low floor, whereas as Bobby Witt Jr. probably is the safest of them, though he's also the most expensive. Maybe outfielders, Jordan Alvarez, Tucker, Acuna, and Corbin Carroll, the top overall options. We do have a lot of value plays here, so we'll just kind of go through those. Jock Peterson for Arizona looks one of my favorite sub 4,500 play. Calhoun for the Angels. If he ends up in the starting lineup, he'll be somebody I would consider today. Rooker is a good one-off for Oakland, as he's hit the ball pretty well lately. He's been inconsistent, but has some upside. Taylor Ward for the Angels, a little bit pricey today, but he does draw good metrics. Terry Carpenter is a good one-off for Detroit if you wanted to utilize them, or if you go with a Detroit stack, he'd be one of the top plays from the team. And then Adele is a very good value play for the Angels at $3,500. Maybe into the sub 3,000 plays. We have Duran for Texas. He can play third base or outfield. He draws really good metrics for this game. It's my favorite sub $3,000 option. Seth Brown is a good one-off for Oakland at $2,800. Joey Loper Fido is also $2,800 and is a little bit safer than Brown in outfield, and is a good person for your Houston stacks. Velasquez for Kansas City draws really good metrics again today as a sub 3,000 play, and Kansas City is going to be a viable team to stack, and he's definitely going to be one to help. Zach McKinstry, he didn't end up playing yesterday at least he didn't start yesterday, but he did end up getting in the game, I think. But he does have good metrics again today, despite the tough matchup. And then Gil Murray. Where'd he go? Lewis G. Oh yeah, there he is. For the Angels, he has really good metrics for a sub 2,500 player, though he's very extremely risky. Looking at our stacks here, we do have some good stacks for this slate. The Dodgers, Kansas City, Texas, and Houston, the top over ones. And then Atlanta, LA, Angels, San Diego, Arizona, Boston are the secondary stacks. And then the teams I'm probably avoiding: St. Louis, Milwaukee, Oakland, Cincinnati, Detroit. Though the Milwaukee stack is expensive, it does have some upside. And I do think the Oakland stack has some potential with some home runs potentially coming there. I would probably avoid the other stacks at the bottom of this. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day. Yeah, Robert, I have been covering the WNBA some. If you're in the Discord, I've been putting the things there every single day.